There we are. Hey everyone, welcome. Let me make sure we are live. This is my very first live stream. And I have, bear with me, not used to this. Hi everyone. And I need to I need to get out of that. Bear with me, not used to this. Hi. There we go. Let's not watch it on our phone. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Mike the Vegas Guy. This is my first ever live stream. And I wanted to do this. Those of you who've been watching the channel for a while now, until last summer, I tried doing some monthly update videos where I would go over like upcoming events in Las Vegas, shows that were coming and going, and very few people watched them. Like no one watched them. They have like 200 views each, which is not no one. Okay, I shouldn't say that, but I didn't have a huge following at the time, but people didn't seem to be interested in those monthly updates as much as my other videos, so I stopped doing them. And I thought maybe I could try doing a live stream format. Problem with those videos was that it took me a long time to prep for them. Like I would make graphics and it was a lot of energy to produce those monthly videos. So I figured, why not do it live? Cut out some of the prep work and do it live, and it'll stay on here. So if you're watching in the future, it's not just going to be me talking to fans on here. I'm going to actually bring up some news items as well as some coming shows for the next month. I will be trying to do this on the last Sunday of every month, and that's what today is. So I'll be doing an update for things that have happened in April and then upcoming events in May. So stay tuned for that. I will also answer questions if people chat in the chat. I can't tell right now. I'm supposed to be able to see if there are comments. I see no comments yet. I can't even tell if there are any viewers right now. So at the very least, we're just recording this for future use. And I have the stupid auto feature on my webcam, so excuse it if it starts darting around a little. I wanted to talk about one big news item that happened today. It was announced today. It leaked a little bit yesterday on, I think, Vegas Starfish leaked the story. I don't report on things until an actual news organization reports them. I don't take my news from YouTubers. You shouldn't either, but I'm reporting this because it has been made public. There are layoffs, more layoffs coming at MGM Resorts. They announced this morning, or at least it was leaked in the Review Journal, that about 34 jobs are being eliminated in the concierge desk of many of the MGM resorts, all of them except for Bellagio and Aria and Cosmopolitan. This is after they already got rid of the valet and bell desk over at Excalibur. I just stayed at Excalibur. I've got a hotel review coming up on this channel, so stay tuned for that. I just put out the buffet review. I went for a couple nights at Excalibur. It was rough without the valet, no bell desk, so you cannot pull up to the front of that hotel right now and drop off your luggage if you're checking in. Unless you have a friend who's gonna get out of the car and wait for you to go park, which maybe you want to do that. That's your only option. Otherwise, you have to go self-park either outside in one of their surface lots, which would be a shorter walk to the front door, if you can find a spot, which I was not able to when I stayed there last week, or their parking garage, which is literally a block behind the building. And you have to walk outside. You have to walk over those bridges and then get outside and into the building. It is not easy for customers. Very strange that they're getting rid of those amenities. Like I said, and I will say this in my review when you watch it, like I did stay at Link last year and complained that they'd gotten rid of their valet. but they still had bell desks. They still were offering you the opportunity to pull up, drop off your bags, have them be taken care of, and then you can go park your car and not worry about that. But boy, they're hitting you both ways over at Excalibur. And now concierge desk. So the article with the Review Journal said that it's not because of budget cuts. It's not due to economic downturn or anything anyone should be concerned about. They're saying that they are adapting to the more current day business needs, and guests just don't want uh, in-person concierges anymore because they can get most of that stuff online. Not an inaccurate statement. I have to, I'm sure there is some economic element. Why else would they lay people off if it's not to save money on their bottom line in some way, shape, or form? Obviously, they're saving money on the spending of this, but it is true. A lot of hotels have been getting rid of concierge or consolidating it or renting it out to third parties. I know when I was working prior to the pandemic, this is before the pandemic and a lot of the cutbacks that have happened. Um, there there were companies that were scaling back their concierge operations. I don't like to get into my personal experience and where I worked, but that was happening at my hotel where I was working at the time. And so, and they used the pandemic as an excuse. So that's the weird thing, is that a lot of resorts just quietly got rid of a lot of those extra positions. They're using the pandemic as an excuse, and they just never came back. MGM was still employing their own concierge, apparently. I know other companies were like renting it out to a third party company that was just leasing space, acting as a concierge. I assumed MGM was doing something like that, but I guess they had their own in-house people doing it, and unfortunately, they're going to be laid off. I believe they were a union. I'm not 100% sure on that. Um, so that hopefully, they're going to have assistants being placed in other jobs, but it's not fun. I don't like to take pleasure in reporting on the anyone losing their job or any cutbacks at hotels. There are other creators out there who use it as a just clickbait. They like Christmas morning for them, that they can have a negative story to report, and they kind of get very gleeful about the big corporations having setbacks because they are anti-capitalist, and uh, screw them for being a big mean capitalist corporation. But there are real people, local Las Vegas workers, who are the ones who get the direct hit when these things happen. And I've been there myself. I have many friends who still work in the industry. It's not fun. It's a real sad thing that this is happening. So I also do wonder if this is a sign of the times, if there are some economic setbacks coming to Vegas. People have been reporting on um, international tourism being down lately. So that is a factor. But it is telling, I think, that MGM is the one having these cutbacks. You're not hearing about it from other resorts. I think part of that is to blame because MGM did bring back a lot of amenities after the pandemic, as opposed to some other companies that, like Caesars, they said, "Oh, I guess we don't need them anymore," and they never brought certain things back. The buffets are a big one. MGM brought back buffets. Almost every other company said, "No, we're not bringing our buffets back," or at least nowhere near the same capacity that they used to. So it could be MGM is the first domino to fall. That because they were bringing back a lot of those amenities that do cost the casino money. This is a sign that things are not going to be great coming ahead. I will say, just on a personal note, I have noticed here's one reason why I've noticed that the Vegas is hurting in one way, shape, or form for tourism. I have several personal friends of mine just within the last month, who friends from outside of town. I know a lot of people from the theater industry all over the country, and about 5 different people have called me up and told me they're coming to Vegas either this summer or later in the year. They've booked their trip, and I'm like, oh, that's odd. I haven't heard from a lot of these people in a long time. And all of a sudden, they're telling me, oh, they got a great deal from their travel agent. I've had about 3 or 4 people tell me they are coming to Vegas because their travel agent offered them this package, a flight hotel package that they just couldn't pass up. And that hadn't been happening. Post pandemic with the revenge travel, Vegas was on top of the world and the hotels were charging whatever they wanted for the rooms and they were not offering discounts. The deals kind of went away. A lot of people have been complaining about that recently too, that the old way of Vegas, where it was always a cheap vacation, Vegas was always a place to, get a cheap meal. As long as you could afford your flight there, the hotel rooms would be cheap, the food would be cheap. They want you to gamble, spend your money in the casino. Everything else is going to be really easy and taken care of for you. And that's gone away post pandemic, post the revenge travel thing. So the first signs are coming back that it's uh, the fact that the casinos are putting out discounts and deals is a sign of the time. I'm not going to complain. Hopefully there's a happy medium where the economy doesn't completely crash and Vegas kind of resets itself to the good old days. Is that too much to ask? I don't know. I have a comment. Someone actually put a comment. Thanks for sharing this information. We canceled our trip to Vegas due to the fear of the economy. Oh, see? But now's the time to come. The deals are out there. Thank you, Jessica and Lisa. Yeah. Why? What was your fear of the for your own personal economy? That I can see that. Yeah, that would be why I'm not making too many vacations lately. Um, I'd like to I'd like to go to Disney World or see the other side of this country. I've been making a lot of my staycations for content on this channel, wasting a lot of my free time at work. So yeah, if that's for your own finances, I can understand that. But otherwise, until things really get bad, good time to be coming to Vegas. There are going to be some deals coming out there. Let's see. Oh, 4 of you are watching. Yay! Thanks. Feel free to put some questions, comments in the chat, and we can chat. So the MGM thing happened. What else did I want to talk about? This is a story that came out weeks ago. I was hoping to make like a video about it and never got around to it. The monorail. I've been working on for a while now. In fact, when I first wanted to do a YouTube channel, I was setting out. I always wanted to do a video about the Las Vegas monorail. I love '90s Vegas. Vintage Vegas. It dates back to the early '90s. The monorail as we know it today, and I've been working on it. And there were some talking points over a year ago. Every once in a while, like once or twice a year, some of the local Vegas vloggers, bloggers, the influencer people, they always try to say something along the lines of, "Is the monorail going away? Is it outdated? Do people really use it?" There was this story that went out, and it was false, but a lot of influencers, content creators, if you will, picked it up and shared that the monorail was definitely closing. That there was this kind of clickbait article that went around. I'm not even going to share it anywhere, but there was this clickbait article saying that the monorail was not viable after 2026 or 2027. There was this report. Someone dug up this report from the LVCVA, who now owns the monorail, and saying that the parts were out of order. The fact is, this is a true story. The manufacturer, the original manufacturer of the current train cars of the monorail, did go out of business. They're not in business anymore, not in the United States at least. Everyone just ran with that. They read that and they ran with that story. Well, the monorail is going to definitely close then. No other choice. Monorail's going out of business because there's no manufacturer anymore. Totally false. There are manufacturers. The original monorail opened in 1994, 93. Should have done more research before starting this video. Um, and they used old Disney World monorail cars on the original track, which was between MGM Grand and Bally's, or the original MGM Grand and the new MGM Grand at the time. And if the current monorail cars, this was a new company, Bombardier, I think was the company. That's a monorail company. They went out of business. If we want new monorail cars, there are other companies on the planet who make monorails. It would just cost them money. And everyone just assumes. People love to the negative comments love to assume that, well, they're not going to spend the money. Well, an article came out a few weeks back announcing that the LVCVA is allocating or seeking to allocate about $12 million to keep the monorail viable for another 10 years. Go figure. So everyone who shared that viral story last year, who swore that the monorail was definitely closing, oh wait, they're going to spend the money. That's all it does. That's the only thing standing in the way of the monorail continuing or closing down is just money and whether the LVCVA is willing to spend it. At the moment, the monorail is still the best way for tourists to get up and down the strip, especially to get to the convention center. Now, this article that came out about this issue happened. They did mention the Vegas Loop, the Tesla tunnels. If you don't know, Elon Musk's boring company has been digging these tunnels under the streets of Las Vegas and building little stations. The first ones were at the convention center to drive self-driving Tesla cars through the tunnels and get people around. They announced in that article that it's not as viable. It's still not as efficient at getting people around this city than the monorail. Historically, trains have always been more efficient than cars, but we're gonna keep experimenting. Apparently, the LVCVA is happy to let this boring company keep experimenting with that. I think the only way we're ever going to make use of those tunnels is if we figure out how to put people movers and trains down in those tunnels. But that's a topic for another video. Another comment from Jessica and Lisa and no one else who's watching. We go to Vegas every month. We spend a lot of money gambling and on gambling and food and we are high rollers at Caesars Resorts, but because of the fear of the economy, we'd rather save. Yes, I understand that. I do want to say, I didn't make a banner for this, but Caesars versus MGM. Another talking point. Let's move on to this because I just stayed at Excalibur, and it was actually the first time I ever stayed at an MGM resort. I've been staying with Caesars for a long time, since before I moved to Vegas, when it was Total Rewards, and it was Harrah's. It wasn't called Caesars yet. I've mentioned many times I used to stay at Bally's more often than other hotels, and a lot of the other creators in this town, a lot of pundits, the Las Vegas Advisor, who I'm affiliated with, they always say they shit on Caesars all the time. I don't know why they always love to say Caesars is terrible. There's a lot of people who love MGM. They say MGM's the best. The rewards program is great. And personally, I've always found it difficult to get status with MGM. Their points seem to be harder to get, and their status doesn't offer the same kind of amenities that Caesars offers. Now, it's true, Caesars really started cutting back and taking things away prior to the pandemic. Even they got rid of their diamond lounges. There were these free lounges that if you were a diamond player or above, you could just go there for free drinks all the time and free food every night. They were really popular. They used to give free show tickets. if you were Diamond. They've cut all of that stuff out, at least in Vegas. I'm told that in other cities, in other markets, they still have they call them Laurel lounges now, and so it's Vegas because it's so heavily concentrated and so many people can abuse the privileges, I guess. I don't know. So there definitely have been cutbacks, but I have to say, in recent months, in the last year at least, they have been getting a lot more generous with their offers. They have been definitely offering more multiplier days. They've made it really easy to get a higher status with them. And the status comes with, that's how I do a lot of my reviews. I get free room offers from them. And when you're diamond or above, you don't pay resort fees. MGM also they have their equivalent, which is gold, and they don't charge resort fees. They just recently did that. Caesars always waived resort fees if you were diamond or above. MGM just caught on to that and is trying to compete with Caesars in that regard. And they still will, when you reserve the room, they include it in your bill. They show you the resort fees and they say that's your price and that they'll be waived when you check in. That did all work out for me in my first experience over at Excalibur last week. But boy, oh boy, the quality of okay, and I shouldn't jump to conclusions. Excalibur is their value resort. It's, notably one of their older properties, but I was very surprised just by how kind of older and run down it felt. Say what you want about Caesars, but all of their hotels have been renovated. Even their oldest properties, they regularly update those rooms at least every 10 years. And this room I stayed at Excalibur couldn't have been renovated in less than, in more, had to have been at least 10 years. It felt like at least 20 years. It definitely felt like an old room with old furnishings. The hallways through the hotel felt old. The carpeting felt old. I was even in one of those staywell rooms that has all the, supposedly high-end air purification systems and things, but didn't seem to make the room that much more luxurious. It was clean room. It was a nice room, but it definitely felt old, not up to date, not renovated. And something you'll see in my review when it comes out. I don't know when it's coming out. It's going to be a couple weeks for that one. I've got a lot of content in the pipeline ready to go if you're tuning into my channel. So I don't know just how when that review will be out, but it'll be, I would say, definitely next month in May. So stay tuned to that for that. But you'll see in that video that even though they have a brand new smart TV, like 50 something inch, big, huge, flat screen smart TV, it had over 20-year-old closed circuit cable television in room system hooked up to it. There was no high definition cable TV in there. It was, the square screen blown up to the widescreen. I thought the city had gotten past that. 10 years ago, that's when a lot of the hotels were converting to having flat screen TVs. They still hadn't maybe upgraded their systems being high def. That was happening a little bit. I thought that was a thing of the past in this city, and at least at the Excalibur. I don't know. I'm gonna try some others. I'm gonna hopefully get into the MGM Grand in the next month or so. And I'm definitely, Luxor has been on my bucket list for a long time, so I'll be staying there at some point, and hopefully, maybe it's just the Excalibur. I don't know if anyone out there has stayed at any of the other MGM properties, but I'm curious to know. They've got to be, at least if you stay at Bellagio, right? The TV has to be high def, right? I don't know. Very strange. So, thank you for commenting there, Jessica and Lisa. And I guess I will move on to. Did I finish talking about the monorail? I finished talking about the monorail. That was the. Long story short, if I did, I know I get carried away sometimes. they're going to extend the monorail for 10 more years. So it's not closing. And uh, they announced, I think that's the thought I didn't finish. They said that whatever happens with the boring company's tunnels, it is not going to replace the monorail anytime soon. So see how that experiment plays out, whether or not the those Tesla tunnels actually become a viable public transportation system. And if that doesn't happen, I'm sure the Las Vegas monorail will be around for a long time. So keep your eye on that. But I love the monorail, and stay tuned for my monorail uh, comprehensive tour of the monorail that I'm working on. Probably another month away on that one. But so let's look at the future. Let's look into May upcoming events. These are just random things I found. This is not a comprehensive list of all of the big events coming in May, but these are a lot of the one night only concerts. You know, I love shows on this channel. I primarily try to review shows on this channel, but I don't cover the one night only headliner concerts. Some people have asked, why don't you cover, you know, uh, none of them are coming to mind now. You know, I did go, I reviewed the Carrie Underwood show at Resorts World months ago, and it was one of my least viewed videos. So I feel like reviewing things that might only be one night only or a standalone event, even these mini residencies, they're not real residencies anymore. So I tend not to review them because once I see it, it's gone into the ether. And I did try and create. I did post a few little shorts early on last year. I was going to concerts. I went to see Bruce Springsteen. I went to see the Rolling Stones, and I made a short. And maybe got a little attention the day after I posted it, and people didn't really seem to watch them. So I will cover upcoming events here in this monthly update, and then I'm not going to review them. But I like going to concerts. I do go. So if you follow me on Instagram and my social media, I will still post, you know, where I'm at and what I'm up to. And if I go to a show, I try and post about it. I didn't grab the exact date, but Sammy Hagar has a new residency at Park MGM. He'll be doing a few dates at Park MGM at the Dolby Live Theater in May. And he's a local Vegas resident now. He lives in Vegas, so he pops up a lot if you follow Vegas news. And he owns the restaurant. He has his own restaurant at Planet Hollywood. So it's kind of a not a big deal. It's less of a big deal if you're a local in Vegas that he lives here and he's doing a little residency. But he hasn't been performing here often. He does little pop-up shows. He shows up at events, charity events and things, but it's the first time he's had a big show of his own. So that's notable if you're a fan. Um, Good excuse to come to Vegas. Another big residency that's coming up in May, Josh Groban at the Coliseum at Caesar's Palace. I didn't know he was as big of a name as some of the other headliners that have appeared there. I'm curious how well this one is going to sell. I'm a fan, you know, nothing against Josh Groban, but he also, you know, he's performed on Broadway recently. He was in Sweeney Todd, and to my knowledge, it wasn't exactly Hamilton level impossible to get tickets when he was starring in it. So he's going to fill, you know, 5,000 seats over at the Coliseum on several nights. It'll be interesting to see. Maybe the tickets won't be as super expensive for his residency, and maybe I will try and grab a ticket and go check him out. But keep your eyes peeled if you're interested in that. Here's a one night only show. I try to include some of the off strip local stuff. Diana Krall is going to be at the Smith Center on May 7th. I saw her years ago when I was living in New England. She's great. I mean, if you like just piano, jazz music, she's incredible. So I have nothing else to say about Diana Krall. She used to be married to Elvis Costello. End of list. End of my fun facts. I saw her once, and she's coming to Vegas. Pitbull at Fontainebleau. Another he used to have his residency at Planet Hollywood for a long time. So it's kind of interesting that he's just doing a one-off show at Fontainebleau. I don't know if he has an extended engagement. I think he has. I think he's done more than one gig there. But interesting just to follow these headliners who will get these contracts and have a residency. And it used to mean something. It used to mean, when Celine Dion opened the Coliseum at Caesar's Palace, it was a big deal. They built the theater for her, and she really did have a residency there and performed, four night, 3 or 4 nights a week for extended periods of time. And then ever since, they kept every new resort built a 5,000 seat theater to compete with Caesar's Palace, and everyone had these residencies. And Pitbull wasn't the most um, prolific of the fake residencies, in my opinion, but he did a good run at Planet Hollywood. He didn't, just do one or two weekends and never come back. So it's interesting that he's still doing well in Vegas, performing here, just hopping around to different casinos now. This one, talk about people who used to be nightly headliners as well as legendary entertainers, and we haven't seen him in a while. Tom Jones. He used to have a contract with MGM Grand 20 years ago in the early 2000s. He was in what is now David Copperfield Theater. He came every other month. They had a rotating lineup of people. Copperfield was like in there he'd come for a month, and then you'd see Tom Jones for a month. And then I think it was Drew Carey and his Improv All Stars had a month. And Tom Jones was always playing at MGM Grand, and decades of history prior to that, at all the Vegas resorts. He was a regular mainstay at a lot of the Vegas hotels. I don't know if he lived here over the years, but we haven't heard from him in a while. He did like 2 nights last year at the Wynn, the Encore Theater, which is really in the Wynn, not in the Encore Hotel. And he is on tour. This is a tour. And he's hitting a lot of U.S. cities. He had not played the U.S. for a while up until last year. So this might be one of your last chances to catch Tom Jones in Vegas. Famous last words. He'll probably be announcing a residency next month. But I'm hoping to get out and see Tom Jones, because I never got to see him live back when he was always here. And he's a legend. There's legendary stories of him in this town. I listen to Penn Jillette's podcast. He talks about Tom Jones every once in a while in stories. One night only. Katy Perry is on her summer tour. I think it just launched. I just saw videos going around the internet. May 17th at T-Mobile Arena. Another person who used to have a Vegas residency and is just stopping by on tour. So there's a theme with the people I've selected on these in these updates here. Katy Perry, and last but not least, so Katy Perry was at Resorts World, and currently at Resorts World, Janet Jackson. He's going to be back this month. He has select dates scheduled. I've heard great things about the show, although I've also heard rumors that it hasn't sold as well. So be looking for that. I'll be scoping out StubHub to see if maybe I can get a cheap ticket to that at the last minute. I would love to see the legendary Janet Jackson at some point. Let's see. Okay, I've seen more comments. I was wondering what the best section to be in for Awakening. Yes. There are no bad seats for Awakening. It is completely in the round. There are no. I have a video. You can check out my video. I think it was the first show review I ever posted on this channel over a year ago for Awakening, and I do explain there's really no bad seats. It's completely in the round. Buy the cheapest ticket if you want. If you want a deal, they consider the last row to be their VIP section, all the way at the top. Gives you a bird's eye view of everything. They serve champagne and give you cake or something, cake and champagne, I think. And provides you a bird's eye view. I also sat, I think I sat in the second or third row. It was incredible there too. It's an incredible show, and they really did do a very good job of being in the round. So whatever you can afford, I would just buy the cheapest possible ticket. Maybe sit on an aisle if you don't want people, next to you. You want some elbow room. There are some scenes where actors and performers come up the aisle, so you want to be close to the action. Sit on an aisle, sit closer to the stage. The action happens all around you. It's a really immersive show, and this person wrote the second comment. I saw your videos. I think 99 plus fees is the price range for me, but I am not sure of the oh, that's what you were talking about, Awakening. Yeah, don't worry about the section. Don't even worry about it. Double check that was a year ago. I may have had some other details about the specific section, but I think I said don't even worry about it. There's really no bad place for that show. Mike, thanks for the show reviews. Your Misbehaved Mavericks and O reviews are spot on. Thank you. I think so. It's fun when I made that video. It's gotten a lot of traction, my O review that with the headline overrated. I've gotten some comments. Some people have challenged me on that one about not being a fan of O. Some people really love that show. And it's a great show. I don't mean to denigrate any Cirque du Soleil. It's the #1 production company in town. All of their shows are fantastic. All fantastic. All of the people, hardworking people who work on stage and off stage, work very hard. They're the best in the business. And it is a fantastic show. But for the cost, the price you're going to pay, hundreds of dollars, and it's just a boring show. I keep talking to people. I ask people all the time. I go, "What did you think of O?" You go, "No, you're right. It's a little boring." I literally saw people asleep during that show when I went. No more comments. All right, well, that's okay. On my very first live stream, I didn't publicize it much. Just getting my feet wet here on this whole format of posting this. Hopefully, enough people will be able to appreciate this going forward in the future. That's why I have all the news and updates. I'm out of topics. That went a lot faster. I thought I would spend more time answering questions, and so few people have submitted questions. But I thank those of you who did comment. Really appreciate it. And I thank each and every one of you who are subscribed to this channel. And I hope everyone who's been watching has clicked the like button on this video. The likes are, I'm told likes are a big deal on the live stream. I don't know. But this is new software for me, a new thing, so bear with me. I'll hang out for just a few more minutes in case someone does want to chime in with a question. I appreciate everyone who participated today. And yeah, Mavericks is a great show. I really love people involved. I've gotten to know some of the people behind that show. It's still the best deal in town. I should take this opportunity. I know. See, this camera's going to follow me behind the scenes. I got to figure out how to turn that off. We centered again? Are we centered again? I do have an affiliate link. I've mentioned it in a couple of my videos. This is kind of new. The Las Vegas Advisor coupon book. They have a coupon for Misbehaved Mavericks in here. Buy one, get one free. If you're not familiar, Las Vegas Advisor has been around for a long time. And they're more of, if you're a gambler, more if you are someone who's a regular tourist to Vegas, you gamble, you like getting the comps with the hotel rewards programs and making the best use out of that. They have a website, countless, and incredible, invaluable information, specifically about gambling, specifically about getting the most out of your casino experience. They also have, regular updates about hotel prices and show prices as well. Although personally, I think sometimes that their show information isn't the most accurate. But that's why I'm doing my channel, by the way. I've seen a lot of other creators get into show information, and that was always my wheelhouse. And I was like, some people are not 100% accurate when they're giving information about the show tickets and things. So that's what drew me to start doing this channel. So thank you all for watching. But that having been said, I love the Las Vegas Advisor, and this coupon book is great. Every year they put this out. It's part of their membership. It's like $50 for a year's membership to their website. They do have a paywall on their site, so if you want all their information, you can just buy like a monthly, like $3 a month. They charge to just access their website, but for the $50, you get this coupon book. There's hundreds, if not thousands, of dollars worth of savings in here. They don't have a ton of show discounts, but the ones that they have are really good. I've mentioned them before. Misbehaved Maverick, Jen Kramer's show that I've reviewed on this channel has 2-for-1. And let me see if there's other show. They're an index. It has a very good index. So if you want to look for drinks, gambling coupons, accommodation coupons, they got a few really great hotel deals in here. If you don't mind staying off of the strip, they've got some deals over at Rio and with no resort fees. You want to see that? Oh, that's right. They have Penn and Teller. So you can get 2-for-1 Penn and Teller and stay at the Rio with no resort fees if you get this $50 book. And I have a link on my page. I'll have to put it. I don't have it in the comments here. I should have figured that one out before I hit play on this. I will add it to the description if you're watching this in the future. And you can get this coupon book if you use my link, my affiliate link, which is on my page. You can get. They'll send me a couple of bucks for your purchase of this book. And I'm not joking when I say I really recommend it. Not a sponsorship. It's an affiliate link. If you buy it, they'll send me some commission. But no pressure. But that's one of the many ways you can help support my channel, other than just hitting the subscribe button. So, with that having been said, oh, hi. Someone just said hi. Hi, Mike. Hello. Great comment. If anyone else has any questions, and I will wrap this up. Thank you so much for watching. Tell me, if you're watching this in the future, please comment. Tell me what kind of information you'd like to see me share in this kind of a monthly update, and let me know if you find any value in watching this at all. Appreciate it. And until next time, stay tuned for more of my regular reviews coming up at the regularly scheduled once or sometimes twice a week. I'm hoping to start getting a few more videos out more regularly coming up in the summer months. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. I'm Mike the Vegas Guy. Have a great day. How do I shut this off? It tells me how to start it, but I don't know how to shut it off.